Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight, our minions SkepTok.
Hi, everybody.
Geodes.
Hello.
And DrFunctional.
Kwame, y'all.
Kwame, y'all. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
I checked on Ghazi Kodo not too long ago. Didn't find any updates.
Well, I think he's in prison, isn't he?
Well, you know, we had updates on Elizabeth Holmes because apparently she's getting out in about half the time that she was sentenced to.
Well, that's the difference between some solo grifter and somebody with a team of lawyers and lots of money, stolen money.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate those people.
His name is August C. Romaine.
Yeah, August C. Romaine.
Like lettuce. I just love that so much.
August C. Romaine. So, Scap.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to share with the class before we get started?
Well, 72 years ago on a Sunday morning, a lady was brought into the hospital there at Sandia Air Force Base in Albuquerque, and she was in labor. And it was about 2 weeks late in delivering. And a young dermatologist was on duty. And he looked good enough to me, so I came out.
Oh, good.
72 years ago today.
Nice.
Ooh, happy Womb Emancipation Day.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, 72 years. It's been great. People came over, and my daughter and one of my 9 grandchildren came over and sang me happy birthday. My soon-to-be 97-year-old father called me up and sang me happy birthday. I'm not crying. You're crying. It was great. It was a great day.
I can't remember. Does your I know you play stringed instruments. Does your I think your father plays an instrument, but I just can't remember which one.
He's an opera singer.
Oh, good.
He sang in the Colorado Springs Repertory Opera.
Excellent.
Which is, a mid-level, but it's a serious opera. And he's a choir director for years. He's very musical, has a beautiful, beautiful baritone voice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they sang the part of the barber in The Marriage of Figaro. And he also played... and this was one where he actually toured. He played the sheriff in Finian's Rainbow. Oh. Dad's quite a guy.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Aeronautical engineer with a PhD and opera singer.
Yeah. But he wasn't
a talented guy.
But he wasn't born 72 years ago today.
No, he was born.
This is your day.
He was born 97 years ago this Halloween.
There
you go.
Yeah, he was born at Halloween in a shack in Bayman, Alabama.
Nice.
19 years later, he would go to the Naval Academy.
As one does, yes.
No, he was the first from the county to ever go to a service academy.
Great place to get an education.
Yeah,
if you're technically inclined, then Naval Academy is a good place.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah, very
much so. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I don't think anybody can top that. No pressure, Geodes. What's new with you?
Oh, not a whole. I mean, there's a lot, but it's all teeth pulling. Let's put it that way.
All teeth pulling.
One of which might be literal. I think I have a cavity, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, there's a long way between cavity and ripping your tooth out. There are degrees. It's a spectrum.
Well,
it's a spectrum of decay.
I mean, at least with this tooth, there's been multiple issues. I'll say that much. But work, life, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't been boring. At least there's that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually reminded of you earlier today as I was looking at Amazon, and I stumbled across something. Let me see if I can bring this up here without causing myself too much doxing. Let's see. All these modern problems we have, right?
Mm-hmm. First world issues.
Yeah. So here's an article with a bunch of houses you can buy off of Amazon prefab. Because I was thinking, I jokingly told Geodes he should buy this shitty, just terrible piece of land in New Mexico. You know, that had barely had a road, you know, no water. Probably everything is just dead, right? Just like might as well be the moon.
Yeah.
And,
was that place that was like in south central New Mexico, way down south?
Yeah. I
remember us talking about that. Yeah.
It was like $5,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like they paid you $5,000 to take it off their hands. I mean, it was like really cheap. But I was looking at this. It's like
There's not a fucking thing down there.
You used to be. Well, what does Geodes need? Just Starlink and some potable water. But I was looking at some of these, like, so generic modern A-frame 20-foot tiny home, $21,351 on Amazon. Now it doesn't say anything about site prep, but of course, if your land is basically desolate, barren, flat, site prep should. This earth is already pre-compacted. This is excellent.
Hey, you know, just orient it for the sun, like the old Pueblo Indians did. You know, and utilize that energy. Yeah, good to go.
Yeah, and or you can get a double-story container house for $26,599
up in the world.
This could be Shea Geodes right here, and then look what $35,000 gets you.
Well, that's nice.
There's a dock and a river and everything. It's pretty great. Yeah,
it's almost like a double wide.
Here's $50,000 for another container house, but that's entirely livable. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. This one's only $16,000.
There you go.
Honestly, you should get that land, buy this on layaway or something, and then you just have a place to just go bugger off to when you don't want to be around people.
There you go. I have to dust it out, but, you know, I'm sure that'd be the only real issue.
Start a community, build a compound.
Get some followers.
Zombie apocalypse.
Devotees.
Get in trouble with the ATF. Waco 2.0. Oh, sorry, no, that's a whole different killdozer.
Yeah. How much does a bulldozer cost anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
You probably get to use bulldozer for not a lot of money.
100,000.
You can learn how to weld at community college. Okay, I should probably stop this before we go any further. Hello, DrFunctional.
Who's that? Hi.
Who's that? You. Anything new?
I broke my toe, but no.
Can you tell us how you broke your toe?
So Jack, the Tomcat, he likes to do these things where he runs around like a psychopath, and he doesn't care that Daddy has walking issues, so he'll go like barreling into my legs, and then he trips me up, and like I just slam it really hard into the vacuum, which is an old bag vac, so it's a solid, sturdy piece of crap. And it hurt. I screamed real loud, and sure enough, 2 days later, it's all like just purple and stuff. And just been self-medicating myself to the moon and back. How are you, Santa Claus?
So you got a hold of some Vicodin, sounds like.
THC sodas.
Okay.
Sarsaparilla,
works.
20 milligrams per bottle.
It works.
And I love me some sarsaparilla, and they actually used a really good recipe for the sarsaparilla. You can't get what is that? Sioux City?
Yep.
The commercial stuff, I don't like it. I don't like that stuff at all. Like if it's not some sort of like real recipe of sarsaparilla, it's just not the same.
It's too much sass, not enough perilla.
Up in that ass.
Yeah.
Tang is for the children.
Well, I'm sorry that you probably broke your toe, or at least damaged it enough that it feels like you broke it.
Honestly,
either way,
it sucks. Could happen because, like, when I was in the kitchens, that would be a death sentence. Now I sit at my desk, I paint.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or play video games while I'm really stoked.
Yeah, you could get gout and you probably wouldn't barely care.
Yeah, I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah. Just
my legs don't mean it doesn't mean much anymore, so I don't care.
Yeah, don't get gout. You got enough problems.
Dr. House,
Yeah, Hugh Laurie, pretty great. Pretty great actor, honestly. Because I don't like medical dramas, but even I watched House just because he's that good.
Oh, lots of people
Same.
didn't.
Yeah.
Same. I don't like medical dramas. I watched House because he was so brilliant.
Well, when I was a little kid, they had that show Emergency, which was about the paramedics, and then they dragged them into the hospital, and then the handsome doctor would take care of them. And they had the kind of sexy 45, 50-year-old nurse. I only recently came to find that that's actually the singer Julie London from like the 50s. And as she got a little older and matured, she ended up going into acting.
She was 60s, Julie London.
When Emergency was on? Doesn't really matter.
No, not when she was a singer.
Oh, when she was a singer. Oh, okay.
She was a singer in the 60s.
Oh, that's right. The Emergency was the 70s. Anyway, it was a show about paramedics. It was fine. But
the only other medical shows that I ever watched were MASH, because that's a medical show, medical comedy, drama.
Maybe.
But I tried watching ER. I just could not get into that style of.
Which thing did you watch? I'm sorry.
ER?
Oh, yeah.
Clooney's
God, no. No.
Yeah, I just
no.
But my sisters all watched it all the time, and I'd be like, okay, never mind, I'm leaving.
I'll tell you, there's nothing like working in the medical industry and researching what doctors do, how they think, how they feel, what nurses think, how they feel, in order to sell them pharmaceuticals, to take the fun out of any medical drama. You know exactly what's going on. You know what's realistic. You know what's not realistic, and you can't enjoy it at all. I could enjoy MASH because it was medical adjacent. That was about character interaction. It just incidentally happened to be about medicine. But the things where the medicine is the star of the show, they never get much of it right. They really don't.
Yeah. Well, why do you think I don't like The Big Bang Theory?
Well, exactly the same reason I don't like The Big Bang Theory.
It's a shitty caricature of people that I respect. It's like, no, fuck you. I don't want to watch that show.
Exactly. I like the real nerds who can do partial pressure calculations in their heads.
Yeah.
I think those people are amazing. They're people like you, Harry.
Well, I mean, I don't do partial pressure calculations in my head. I could if I wanted to,
you could if you learned how.
But honestly, most people, for practical purposes, just use rule of thumb for stuff like that. The real calculations take more time.
I actually used the slide rule to do partial pressures when I was at Northwestern. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, can't say what I was going to say.
Just say it after the show.
Yeah. Well, I just have to be careful not to dox myself all the time. Anyway, talk about drugs. So I ran across an ad for a drug that kind of blew my mind. So this is for a prescription oral medicine used to treat adults with major depressive disorder. Okay. And that's not really what's interesting about it. But of course, everybody wants to put their unique spin on these drugs. We are going to say hello to everybody in chat in just a moment. I'm just trying to go with the flow here. So this is Auvelity. And look at the compounds here. It's buprion, hydrochloride, Wellbutrin. But the thing that makes it special, that makes it magic, is they have mixed it with purple drank. They've mixed it with dextromethorphan. so basically, it's Wellbutrin and cough syrup in one pill. That'll cheer you up.
Yeah, you know what though? That actually
or make you shoot up a school.
That actually may cause very interesting. Dextromethorphan's a very interesting chemical. If you ever study the side effects of and some of the drug interactions of dextromethorphan, you have to be careful with that stuff.
Yeah, overdosing on it is bad, but people do it for recreational purposes because they just want to feel. They just want to feel different. That's all it is. That's all it is. Give me my purple drink and wash down
I used
some.
to know a girl who
Wellbutrin.
used to take aspirin until her ears buzzed, until her ears rang.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah. Just to feel different. Just because it changed the way she felt. Anyway.
Just to probably avoid broken glass if that's something you do for fun, because you're not going to clot very much.
We have a roll call of champions in chat tonight. Did you know that we have Raymond Lewis and JB? Green Badger is here and Kiever Dam too. JB is here. And let's see who else has checked in. Mike, how you doing? Mike R is here guys are disclosing their minds in chat to one another and to us, to the world, and we appreciate it. Nice to see you guys this evening.
And there's birthday wishes in there for you. I think JB gave you some cake.
Yeah, I see the JB.
Yeah,
Thank you, bud.
So we're good.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so purple. Well, you know, Wellbutrin is, or Buprion is generic at this point, I believe. It's cheap.
Yes, it is.
It does not cost much at all. If you're on an HMO and they just want to shut you up, it's like, here's your...
it's not even hard to make.
Yeah, here's your Wellbutrin. Here's your... what's the other damn thing that they always give? Gabapentin.
Gabapentin.
Now go drug yourself into submission and shut up. Stop bugging us.
We're going to turn down the gain on your nervous system. Go in the corner.
But they've but we by combining it with dextromethorphan, aka purple drink, I'm sure they're going to charge a lot more money for it.
They're using dextromethorphan, I almost guarantee you, to enhance the delivery. There's some neurological interaction. I'll have to look it up and see what it is. See what receptor sites are being affected, what parts. But I guarantee you that's neurological.
Yeah.
That's the or I don't guarantee it, but I suspect strongly it's in neurological.
Yep. Heverdam gets it. Scissorp.
Scissorp.
I had to mute you, Gio. You can unmute yourself but your scroll wheel or something needs some Wellbutrin.
Oh.
WD-40.
Okay. You need to Wellbutrin that.
I did not realize it was that loud. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
It's okay. It sounded like you were changing the speeds on like an old steamboat. You know, you were using that thing.
Those cranks.
I need to check with you if you can hear my new keyboard or not, because I've been told you can, but I ordered the soft keys. Thank you very much. So.
You get it. You want to go Cherry MX Blue, and then there's a few other keys I know that are just really obnoxious. They let people know that you're getting work done. You know, because they hear every keystroke.
Yeah,
and it vibrates clear, you know, into their back molars. Some of the more tactile keys are pretty rough.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair. But you didn't go for blue keys, did you?
Oh, I did silent cherry red or whatever it's
called.
It's
fine. Those are linear. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
But this is not a keyboard channel, even though I would enjoy it if it did become a keyboard channel.
I'd tune in.
Yeah. Man, there are
some
great...
shitty Microsoft one, because every time I buy a nice keyboard, for some reason I muck it up.
I got accustomed to one of those split keyboards on a long job that I had. And I was a mess when I got back to a regular keyboard.
What's like the
all over the place.
Where it's split in the middle, like on an angle?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm using.
Yeah. And once you learn how those work, my speed went from I can type comfortably 40 words a minute. If I'm herf on it, I can get up to about 50. Probably still. I might be a little bit slower now. But that improved my speed and accuracy on typing.
Yeah.
I like the gap because I never can feel the things, you know, they put on the S and the J.
Nubs.
There's little nubs to sort of tell, like, without having to look, to reorient yourself on a keyboard. I can't feel those at a glance. So I need that break so I can, because I've got long spider fingers. My fingers can basically cross to the L from the tab.
Yeah.
And having that much space is beautiful. Anyway. Let's not turn it into a keyboard stream.
I mean, we could, I suppose. I'm using a Mellatrix Zoom 75, by the way, with TTC Silent Bluish Whites, which is a tactile switch that's fairly quiet. So I've noticed you can't really hear my keyboard much. It used to be when we started streaming, you can go back and listen to the tapes. It's like, it's definitely there. Now I don't think you hear it that much. And it's
you can only hear my left hand. Do you know why?
No. Because
the guitar callus on the ends of my left fingers are so thick that it makes a tapping sound when I hit the key, and it sounds like you're clicking it with a coin.
Mm-hmm. Respect.
That's true.
Yeah. So, Helene, I think the story of the day that everybody's talking about is that everything is terrible in North Carolina. And we've all heard about the guy who got threatened with arrest if he kept flying his helicopter to help people.
Yes.
It's like, I was talking to Geodes and Functional before the show, and I said that the police chief in Uvalde should send that police idiot who told the guy to stop flying the helicopter a fruit basket for taking the heat off him, because up until now, he's been the poster child for incompetent government idiots. Telling the guy with the helicopter not to help save the people who were stuck
Quit
is
helping those
unconscionable. Yeah, quit helping those people. Well, you need to coordinate with us. Well, I have been coordinating with you. You've got your frequencies. You've given me a place to land. Yeah, I don't care. What I said stands, and you can just stop. Yeah.
The best part was he had left his son with some like family or like an elderly person. I can't remember.
Yeah, up on a hill because he
And-
didn't want to carry
and-
too many people in his small copter.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, can I at least go and get my kid?" And they're like, "No." And it's just like, yeah, that ain't happening, buddy. So he just went and grabbed him.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well, as long as he didn't land back at sort of the base where they were doing the disaster recovery, there wasn't really much the guy could do about it. It's like, well, let's see, who here has a helicopter? Not you, not you. No, me. I'm the one with the helicopter. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then like 48 hours later, they were like, "We need all the helicopters we can get." It's like, yeah, that's got to be
It's pretty amazing. There's always some bureaucrat who they've got nothing going in their life. And when something like this comes around, their life suddenly takes on meaning. And anything that threatens that...
They have a little bit of power.
Yeah, they have a little bit of power. The chafing on their nipples hasn't gotten too bad just yet. And anything that harshes their mellow is they're just going to react against in a bad way.
Yeah.
God, how small must this person's dick be to...
No kidding.
Because the guy had first responder experience. He had fire. What didn't he have? Like fire police. He had like he ticked every box. He ticked every single box. Trained pilot, thousands of hours of experience, has his own helicopter. There was nothing. This guy did not do a single thing wrong.
No,
but there had to be.
I think even his son had helicopter experience.
Yeah, and then
when he was able.
And then Barney Fife gets to be acting doo-wah for the day, and then decides to do this shit.
Yeah,
he nipped it in the bud.
Nip it. You gotta nip it. Nip it.
Can you believe that they're doing a remake of Matlock?
No.
Oh God.
They are. They are. They're doing a remake of Matlock. Oh God, I have to look now. I can't remember. It's terrible.
What fat lesbian is going to play Matlock?
Okay.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell as
Let me find who. It was something terrible, and then I pushed it out of my brain because I did not want to think about it. It's really bad. Matlock, not Metlock. Matlock. Okay.
And they're gonna remake Matlock before Murder, She Wrote? Sacrilege.
Man.
Oh God, yeah, it's Kathy Bates. Now, with all due respect to Kathy Bates, no.
Yeah.
We do not need to remake Matlock.
They're really doing Matlock with a chick?
I mean, Kathy Bates is great, but it's still...
She's an awesome actress. But
make something else. Make something else. We'll watch it. Kathy Bates is great.
Yeah, Kathy Bates is great. This is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And I probably won't watch it because of that, which is a shame. Because I also
know
like
she was
Kathy
a lesbian.
Bates.
Or black. Or wheelchair bound.
Or black. Or overweight.
Yeah.
Well, she's disabled. She's a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me a while, to kind of get over Denzel remaking The Equalizer, because I really liked Bob Woodward in that character, and I liked the way the TV show worked. But ultimately, I reached a kind of peace over it, because I realized that Denzel's Equalizer is so different that all they really share is a title and a main character name. So I kind of don't care, because Denzel's
but
great.
It
Denzel's
worked there,
great.
but it didn't work in Total Recall, which was...
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, this could be like fantastic. I doubt it will be, but it could be.
I enjoyed Total Recall as camp.
The original?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was. It's a classic '90s action movie. It's not supposed to be anything prophetic or anything, but
No, it's
when
fun,
you tell decent stories well and craft the world around it, then I mean it doesn't matter really what it is. It can be Matlock, it can be good.
Yeah. Anyway, I hate.
That's why I watch
hate
so
this.
much crap, because you never know what you're gonna find in that pile of junk sitting in the corner of the movie world. And I found the odd gem that like nobody else has seen. Well, not nobody else, but very few people have seen. And it's like, here, watch this movie. And people come back to me. They're like, oh my God, that was great. How did I never hear about this? Like, a lot of people don't seem to understand. 2010 was a fantastic year for movies. It's just not movies that you've seen. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, Geodes, I have a meme for you. This is my favorite meme of the week. Okay, and it pertains to I think it pertains to the story that we just talked about. You're going to like this. Oh, wait, got to make it smaller.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Oh, look, the helicopter's here to bring us supplies. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yep. I like this meme. It's a little dark. No pun intended. All right. Let's see. I don't want to talk about this. Well, I'll just mention it and we won't talk about it. Florida's biggest insurer cuts over 600,000 policies after Hurricane Helene. Fuck you. Okay, next. We
Who's
talked.
Sure.
Okay, who is it?
Pardon me.
Get the money and run it.
Sunshine State Citizens Property Insurance Corporation. Oh, sorry. Why can I not find it? Probably because I have a headache and I can't think.
No worries. I'll find it for you. Go on. Move on.
Citizens Policy Insurance something or other. All right. All right.
Citizen Property Insurance Corporation.
That's terrible.
Yep.
Oh, well, we've got Skep here. You remember I recommended a while ago a channel about accounting. It's just a channel where these guys just talk about accounting, but accounting itself isn't what's important. What's important is they find great articles about things that are in journals so boring that most people would never see them coming. So I follow these guys because they have news. So you remember FTX, Bankman Fraud's little crypto thing. And remember, they gave all this money to Alameda Research, and it was like $4 billion that they just funneled off there. Because
isn't that where the nuclear vessels are?
where the nuclear vessels are, exactly. So here's just a little short with these guys. And again, I totally recommend this channel because it's way better than it sounds.
So Prager Metis settled with the SEC for $1.95 million over their audits of FTX. So do you remember Prager Metis?
Yeah. When this was all going down, they were the auditor of record for FTX, and we were wondering what was going to happen because.
And before that, they were the Metaverse accounting firm,
right.
and
so,
they've always been in like questionable crypto-ish things. They've been kind of involved in.
They have.
Okay, so we're up to speed. The accounting firm for FTX.
Is that English?
Sorry?
Huh?
Huh? Is what English?
What they were saying.
Oh, all these words. Well, the auditor is a firm called Prager Metis, and they were supposed to be the people that were outside people going over the books for FTX, to make sure that they weren't doing anything they shouldn't be doing. So the long story short is they have been charged with fraud. In fact, they basically said in the report that they were guilty of negligence so serious as to constitute fraud. Okay, that's not what you want to get from the SEC.
Well, negligence, you're going to get in trouble with the SEC because you'll be violating Securities and Exchange Acts of 1933 and 34, and the Investment Advisors Act of 1940. Those are principally the acts that the Securities and Exchange Commission enforce. You tend to get civil fines and stuff like that. Fraud's a different story. Fraud's a criminal thing, and this would be a federal fraud charge. This would be a terrible. That's much more serious than losing $1 million to the SEC.
Well, they settled with the SEC on the matter, and they got just effectively a slap on the wrist. It's nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. Nobody's going to jail.
Lunch money.
Nobody's losing. I mean, it's just nothing.
Yep.
As I recall, I thought this was the 60-second version, but somehow I've linked the 4-minute, 46-second version, and we're not going through all of that. But I believe it was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for the fine. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh my god.
These people should be in jail.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
They belong in jail with Sambo.
Yeah. Yeah, and if they're women, we throw them in with, my nemesis. So, Geodes, I sent you a picture. I sent you an article because I have this whole section on what I'm just sort of calling work. So we have this article I found, Iranian immigrant becomes billionaire as her biotech firm stock soars.
Yeah.
And so you scroll down here. Where's the picture of her? What happened?
It's not. It's not on the actual thing. You have to.
There it is.
Oh, no, there it is. Okay.
There it is.
It's not loading for me.
And I know how much Geodes loves women with crazy eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Because I'm definitely getting some Theranos vibes here. Now, I'm not saying that she's a fraud or that her product doesn't work. I expect she's not another Elizabeth Holmes. But I saw this picture and I thought, oh yeah, this Geodes has got to take a look at this. So you already made artwork for this, right?
I did.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, she's not crazy. She's not crazy. She's just fine.
Yeah. just
Dad, I really love her. Jesus.
I have not looked at her product. I have not looked at her work. For all I know, it's going to be the thing that saves humankind. I don't know. I just saw these eyes and I thought, this is Theranos all over again.
Yeah.
Jesus.
When you say sociopath without saying a word.
I don't like having my picture taken either. I'm sure she's a lovely, lovely human being. Well, on the work thread, you guys have heard of was it Raising Cane's, the restaurant thing? So the founder of Raising Cane's, I found this article here. They say 52-year-old worked 90-hour weeks in an oil refinery to save money for his business. Now he's worth $9.5 billion. So this is kind of like, hey, everything's starting to circle the drain. Let's have a feel-good story about a guy who made a bunch of money.
Right.
And it talks about how he, pitched the idea with a friend of his in a business class and said, hey, do you think we could get funding? And they said, no, you suck. You're going nowhere. So he made a bunch of money and started opening his restaurant chain with an associate. And now he's worth all this money. Hard work, brown bagging at lunch, good idea, and a lot of luck equals billions of dollars. But there are people in the government who think you didn't make that. Well, like hell, he didn't make it. He didn't get money from an angel investor. He didn't get a loan from a bank because he fit in some historically disadvantaged group. He's some white guy had to work 90-hour weeks and bust his hump to put together a thing. And now he's got a bunch of money. And there are people in the government who would love to tax him to the tune of 85% marginal tax rate and then take away 1% to 2% of his wealth every year. I just really do not like politicians. I like them less and less every day.
Are you liking the idea of unrealized capital gains taxes?
I'm thinking it's a great way. If you're an accelerationist, you would really like it because it seems like a great way.
What you mean?
It's like a friend of mine who was a pilot for small planes, and he said. I asked him, is it safer to fly a small plane with 2 engines instead of like a plane with 1 engine?
No,
and he said, I talked to my instructor about that question. He said, well, the second engine is good because it gets you to the crash faster. And I said, oh, okay. So 2 engines isn't necessarily any better. It's really about the about the
Actually,
skill.
a single engine plane, if you have an emergency, is easier to handle.
You just glide.
Yeah, and you don't have any. You don't have to worry about asymmetric thrust. You don't have to worry about cross feeding. Fuel. You don't. And you're just trying to. You're having that kind of a problem. You're starting to drop out of the air, lose altitude. Just looking for a safe place to go down and keep your airspeed up.
Yeah. The other thing I've noticed in the business pages of parts of the news is there's a lot of these articles about side hustle. And I think this is really more just polishing a turd about the current economy. It's like, well, why don't you go get a side hustle?
Yeah.
And it might just turn into your job. So I saw this article, and I grew my side hustle into a $20,000 a month business. Here are 4 tips I have for aspiring entrepreneurs. So I thought, okay, is this person somebody that I should get tips from? I honestly just sort of scrolled down, and she essentially started a coaching business. That's her thing. So she's a above average, good looking young woman who sits down and talks to guys who want to start businesses, or women. So women want to be her and guys want to date her. And I honestly think I don't really think in terms of things like pretty privilege, but I think that's what we're dealing with here. I suspect if she was an unattractive woman, her side gig wouldn't have turned into what it did.
Bingo.
And honestly, no hate. I mean, seriously, if she's born and she's got pretty privilege, make the most of it. Some people are born tall, some people are born pretty, some people are born handsome. But the idea that somehow her advice is going to translate into success for other people. It's not like she built a bunch of businesses and then retired at age 50 and then coaches people. She's a 32-year-old young woman who got out of school and did this side hustle and made some money. I'm not really sure how or why I would listen. She would give me advice and why I would listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Harry, the only way to really know for certain is to start your own side hustle of coaching and compete. Yeah.
Well, there was this TV show. It was I think it was called 7 Days. It was sort of a light science fiction time travel thing, which was a fun little TV show. I think it was on UPN. And there was this actress in there. I think her name was, I can't remember. It was just Justina Vale or something. And I wondered, as one does with the internet, where are they now? And you just start putting people's names in. Like, I wonder what happened to this person. Are they still acting or whatever? No, she retired from acting and took her above average good looks and went off to become a professional life coach. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I just can't take people seriously as life coaches unless they've accomplished a lot. Like, if you're going to give people advice, you better have accomplished a whole lot before I would take your advice. Like, I would take advice from Skep's dad. Sure. Dear Skep's dad, should I join the Navy? You're like 19 years old, and then he would ask you some questions and then say yes or no. That would be advice you should absolutely take.
That's actually what he would do.
Yeah.
That's just exactly his personality.
Yeah. Well, you give him a problem to solve. Okay, present the problem. Give me your boundary conditions. He's just going to break it down.
He's an engineer to the core. Exactly. He's just like you.
Let's make a flow chart. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Yep. Here's your critical path.
Here's your critical path. But I don't know. I just think these kind of articles, I feel like it's a weird kind of mental masturbation that they're passing around, because they sense that people are starting to get jittery. So now these kinds of articles are suddenly showing up, especially the side hustle things. I don't know. Am I the only one who's seeing it?
No, I'm seeing stuff about side hustle, and it just makes me laugh, because it makes me think, if you have a side hustle, you're not fully employed. Because when I've been fully employed, when I've had jobs that were really meaningful to me, I work 60, 70 hours a week. I
barely had time to breathe.
Yeah, just because I get into it. When I was putting the network department together, I was building a national network for an $8 billion savings and loan. It was a big job. That's not a 40-hour-a-week job. Here, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I
That's
know.
60, 70 hours a week.
That's as many hours as you can put in before your work starts to deteriorate.
That's exactly right.
Because basically it's you or it's somebody else, and you want it to be you.
Right.
And your name's going to be all over it, so you want it not to suck. So how many hours are you going to work? I'm going to work as many hours as I can before I start to make mistakes that hurt people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can configure two more routers and 2 more servers, and then I got to go to bed. Then I got to go to sleep for 3 hours.
Okay.
So many times.
I'm going to give you, in terms of things I did this week, I told you I bought some rebuilt Dell servers off of Amazon, $189 a piece, 64 gigs, 16 cores. They're fine. They're actually in really nice shape. So these things come in, and I do not like dealing with Dell. But people who don't work with servers probably don't know, you don't actually hook a console up to it with a keyboard to set it up. You usually do this all through a remote thing with like a web page.
Right.
You set up this basically the BMC. It's a baseboard management controller thing. Okay, so I get them up on an IP address. I can get to them with a browser. Everything's great, and it gives me a virtual console. And I feed it a virtual CD image and say, okay, boot off of this and install Ubuntu. Okay. So everything's starting to go, except for the fact that the keyboard isn't responding. And I don't usually work with Dell all the time. People who work with Dell are kind of like people who work with Juniper, or Cisco, or IBM. You know, it's kind of a specialty. And I spent probably an hour and a half trying to figure out why the goddamn keyboard on the virtual console wasn't working. Turns out
the right driver.
No. Turns out the default is, you can have a virtual console. Would you like the keyboard to interact with it? You have to change a setting. It by default just doesn't listen to the keyboard. Yeah,
default is it does not listen to standard I/O.
No, default. Default is here. We'll show you what's happening, but keyboard. No. Why in the hell would you want a keyboard? God damn it!
As an extra benefit,
an hour and a half of my life just wanting to kick Michael Dell in the nuts. What's his name?
Cherry red keys. Wait, what? Okay.
Where was the setting? Where was the setting? Was it?
It was on the web page for the BMC. You had to on the virtual console thing. There was a setting for it, like buried down at the bottom of this display about HTML5 stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, not that interesting, but it was an hour and a half of my life wasted. Stupid.
Right. It was an hour and a half of your life learning patience.
Yeah. It's fine. All right, so speaking of computers, stupid thing here. Well, anyway, some guy at UC Berkeley who's a professor basically said 80% of the computer jobs have, for entry level have gone away because of AI. And maybe you should think about doing literally anything else. So I don't have a backup link for this one. Richard Branson says Gen Z wants to be their own boss. Billionaire Richard Branson says they'd be better off skipping college to get on with it. Maybe. Sometimes. I think that just because people go to college and do stupid things doesn't mean that college is inherently worthless. There are a lot of things you can do in a university setting that are really hard to do outside of that until you've got like a job, say, with the government or a big company. There's a lot of opportunity for somebody who wants to go to university and study something that's going to translate into a job.
Traditionally, yes, but there's a lot of gobbledygook going on.
Yeah.
All over the place, all over the West. Like it's I mean, we've all seen some of the stories and some of the talking heads talk about it, so I'm not going to go into it.
Well, Geodes, I sense that you might want a piece of this. Let me preface this by saying, when I started going into all this stuff, I didn't even study computer science in school. I mean, I took computer science classes, but that's just because I'm wired that way. There were not nearly as many jobs in IT as there are now. But at the same time, there were far fewer people actually trying to get into them because the whole I'm going to get into IT and get rich and retire at 35 mentality happened after I got started.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you're closer to this period of time where everything had become sort of commoditized, right? Here's a job. You're now a cog in a big machine. How you do your work is well regulated. Enjoy, right? So I feel like my life was way more fun than yours in terms of, getting into to IT stuff. And I'm sorry about that. That's just the way it is because I was born before you. But you saw a lot of it. A lot of the jobs were just like, there really wasn't a lot of future in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing that I would the thing that I noticed mostly is upper mobility was kind of hard to figure out, partially because the people who already did do it didn't really want to take the time to help out people underneath them.
No.
There's a lot of times, like, okay, a good example. There was me and a coworker, great coworker, wonderful guy, ex-military, widower, had a son, taking care of him, good guy. And we were both, I would say, the two best at our job at the specific location we were at. He was quite a bit better than I was, but I was good because at least I think so, because I actually gave a damn. And yeah, there was a lot of assistance for him to try and help him figure out how to move up in the company, such as like how to figure out his tax situation, all kinds of other stuff. When it got to me, and I tried asking them the same stuff, they said, "Oh, here's a website with all the resources and information. You can find all that on your own. Have a nice day." And now, to be fair, he's ex-military, and the company was trying to, I think, show that they want to put more effort there. He also, let's just say his background was a little bit ethnically different. Not that I really care. I mean, he was a great guy.
Yep.
But it's just one of those things where it's like you start seeing the priorities, and you start realizing that it's not necessarily that you can't get ahead. It's just that you have to put in a lot more work than is really like you should have to. Let's put it that way. And it's mostly just because it's like, yeah, I mean, I was literally trying to pull teeth with my team leads who were in the same city as me. And I mean, granted, also COVID didn't help, but that's a whole other matter. Mm-hmm. But it's like I had to pull teeth just to try and get basic information when I was talking with him, and he's like, I don't understand why. I mean, like they literally just sat down with me and walked me through all of this.
Yeah. They're just not that into you, Geodes.
Yeah.
But now, so I remember, God, what was it? Around the aughts, the beginning of the aughts, people would say, "Hey, Harry, you know about IT stuff and that sort of thing. I want to become a graphic artist and make websites and stuff. What do you think?" And I got in trouble from some of my friends because I would tell these strangers that they would bring to me. I'd say, "No, this is a terrible idea." This is because I can see which way things are going, with Fiverr and things like that. I said, this is so much of this stuff is just going to become canned, pre-masticated stuff that you're just going to plug values into. Unless you are really hardworking and or incredibly gifted, this is not going to go well for 90% of the people who try to do it. Mm-hmm. So many people wanted to become graphic artists, and now a lot of that stuff that used to be 10 years ago, I want to get into programming. I think a lot of that is going to be gone. I think 90% of those jobs are going to disappear.
Yeah.
A lot of the programming, the old style programming has disappeared. You literally are having programs written by AI that, it's more productive, it's faster, it doesn't take a day off. There's a lot to be said for it. Mm-hmm. Well, AI is going to continue to change.
Well, in programming, you look at inheritance, code reuse, all that stuff, and people started coming out with what they call design patterns.
Right.
And this was all the talk in the 90s, design patterns. Well, design patterns essentially mean find good, reliable ways to reuse code to do multiple things. It's all about code reuse. Don't just reinvent the wheel every time you want to sort through a list of things, every time you want to set up some kind of program that does a specific thing. Just rely on a pattern.
I'm the biggest code pirate you ever met, Harry.
Yeah, but AI essentially takes that idea and takes it to several orders of magnitude higher, where you not only can use design patterns, you can use them without even knowing you're using design patterns because you just let the AI do the heavy lifting. Yeah. The AI recognizes the patterns, uses them internally. The person producing the program, or basically giving the prompts to the AI to produce the program, doesn't even have to know. And you put those tools in the hands of a good programmer.
Oh, yeah.
The top 10% are going to keep their jobs and they're going to be fine. But all the entry-level people who are struggling to get a foothold, it's not going to be easy. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to need mentorship and probably shelter.
I would say that if you...
while you learn your craft.
The same thing I told people. I said, if you want to get into programming specifically, find an open source project that does something you're interested in and become part of it and contribute.
Yep, become a valuable part of it.
And basically, you will be doing work for free for exposure and experience, just like people do.
You need to build your portfolio.
You need to build your portfolio. You need to be like the guy who knows about, like Memcached or something, because you contributed, 1,000 lines of code or did a code fix or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now but what's also funny, Harry, and not exactly related to my story, but kind of, there was a plumbing group here that assisted our house a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
They were all made up of, I believe it was Los Alamos lab people who took a look at, they did a bunch of number crunching and realized they could make more money doing plumbing.
Yeah.
And even if they were working a bit harder.
HVAC.
Yeah.
Great.
And they wouldn't even have to deal with all their upper management and stuff. So they broke off and formed their own company.
Well, that's what Richard Branson's talking about.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at chat. Okay, no major changes. Jack's just saying hi. Hi, Jack. Okay. All right. Sorry, I still have a bit of a headache so chat knows. So my normal level of organization is not where it normally would be, and I'm rambling a bit more. So sorry about that. I'll try to keep myself in check here.
Harry's got a headache tonight, honey.
Harry has a headache tonight. Richard Branson. Okay. You want to make fun of some people?
Yeah.
Oh, when do I not?
Okay. How about this article? A millennial woman. Oh, no, this isn't the one I wanted to put up. But this is also there. Never mind. Millennial women are ready to quit jobs due to menopause, study shows. Well, we'll just leave that there.
All right. Anybody want to get into trouble?
This is not the one I was looking for. Okay. I screwed up. Okay, I can tell you what it is, but we'll just come back to it. We can make fun of somebody else. Oh God, everything is the suck tonight. Jesus Christ. Well, we won't be doing that article.
Which Aztec god did you piss off, Harry?
Okay, how about this one? Video of Canadian landlord evicting Indian tenant goes viral. Internet demands proper information. Okay, let's unpack this, shall we? First of all, what business is of the internet if a landlord decides to evict a shirtless Indian guy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how is this any of your business? So the Indian guy's claiming now, and also, first of all, who gives a crap that he's Indian? That part I don't understand. This is just the way the story's written.
Dot or feather?
Dot. The
Okay.
caption says the tenant claimed he had not received proper notice to leave. The video shows the landlord discarding items onto the street, with tenants expressing their disapproval. The case has raised questions about tenant rights and proper eviction procedures in Canada. I'm totally willing to believe that there might have been a breakdown in communication or all these other things, but just the attitude surrounding this thing, like we're the internet, we're entitled to answers. Like, why?
Well,
Why are you entitled to answers?
There's also a lot of people online who really hate landlords, so that's why this story doesn't surprise me. They probably are doing that just to get the hate clicks, So
yeah. Some users also joked about the situation in the comments. I support landlord, wrote one user. A second user commented, Indian being Indian, not taking warnings seriously. Is that a cultural thing for Indians to just ignore warnings? I mean, I know that traffic signs are largely considered to be advice,
optional.
but yeah, optional.
More
there
of a
does,
guideline, really.
well, there does seem to be an attitude, a healthy attitude in some ways. It'll all work itself out. You know,
Yeah, right.
not going to worry about it. It's all
She'll
going to
be
work
right,
itself
mate.
out.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
That is my sofa. Where are you going?
That's such a cultural.
There's all this rent control stuff that's been going on in locations in California and statewide. And I just like, you want more housing, but you're going to make it less profitable for people to offer and build this housing. I don't think people have thought this through.
No. Somebody thought it to the first dollar. They never think it through to the last dollar. They always think through the first dollar.
Yeah, if you increase the supply and there's landlords competing for tenants, they will offer lower prices. They won't be able to just,
Right.
you know,
It's not how this works. It's not how any of this works.
If anyone's interested, there's a nice piece of property
Yeah.
in New Mexico.
yeah, and just
Southern
put a
Okay.
prefab house on it.
Yeah, yeah. Not included.
Not
But,
included.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let it go cheap.
Oh, well, let's make fun of California because we can.
Is it
Here's
in the Deming Metroplex.
campers. Okay, so California campers told to stop using disposable propane cylinders under new California law. Jesus Christ, how much of a pain in the ass does California have to be that now you're trying to be
They want
buzzkills about
everybody to
camping?
leave.
Yeah.
They want everybody out. Everybody leave.
Do they think
Okay.
I'm just going to carry like 500 watts of solar panels around with me and set them up and then use like a little electric hob that I'm going to bring with me? I mean,
No, what's really going on? And actually, a friend of mine told me this was happening and would happen, and that was back in 1978. He told me this. He said the Sierra Club, this ecological movement, generally the liberal drift, and this guy was a liberal Jewish lawyer. He was the staff judge advocate at the Naval Postgraduate School, and probably my best friend there. And we talked about this, and these people want to make going to a beautiful place, enjoying the natural beauty that we have. That's going to be available only to the elite. Okay, only to the people who can afford that kind of an ecotourism type of thing, or can take enough time off for work to backpack for a week to get into the country they want to see, and then backpack their way out. He was exactly right, and that's exactly what has happened. A lot of the other reasons that the movement has gone to where it's gone, but it's absurdly ineffective too. Anyway, don't get me started talking about ecological things. Stupidity
yeah.
abounds.
Okay, so functional.
Yeah.
How do you feel about hippies?
Fuck hippies.
Okay, that's the correct attitude. Fuck hippies. You're going to love this. Okay.
In the ass.
This flute-playing landlord built a utopian commune. Humboldt wants to evict it. So a bunch of dirty hippies have been hanging out for decades in Humboldt County, and now they're trying to kick them all out. I hope they use a fire hose and just with like soapy water and just push them and their patchouli oil runoff, out of this property.
So, where are they living? Are they living in a house or something? Or
For the past 4 decades, a commune tucked into the wilds of the Redwood Coast, locally known as Yeehaw, has been home to hundreds of Humboldt County residents seeking a life closer to the land. Men, women, and children drink spring water, cook and share their meals together, and build their homes from recycled materials.
okay, how did they handle the Giardia?
The Yeehaw property near the seaside town of Trinidad is owned by Charles Garth. Proponents of Garth in the community describe their landlord as a smiling, flute-playing man deeply committed to the well-being of those who share his land, giving refuge to
Lord.
Humboldt County residents who need a leg up. Yeah. But the Board of Supervisors is wanting to do away with this nonsense. Yeah, the brouhaha between Yeehaw and the county dates back to 2001 when officials served their first abatement notices, finding a litany of code violations on the property. Planning and building portrayed Yeehaw as a hazardous 12-acre parcel where 15 wood frame structures contained unsafe stairways, electrical hazards, and dangerous wood stoves without flues. Oh, God. That sounds great. Most lacked smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Officials discovered RVs were being lived in with extension cords running through the windows and wood stoves installed inside for heating. What could go wrong, right, Scap?
Yeah. Typhus. How about that?
Meningitis.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
There's remember that commune that you showed us, Harry, in
Black Hammer
California?
City?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like that.
Well,
Kwame, y'all.
You know,
that was actually Colorado where they were going to build that, in the
Oh, okay.
Rockies. Yeah, but
I'm thinking maybe of the landlord that had all those RVs stuck on her property.
oh yeah, there was
Yeah.
that one. But there's a history of crunchy granola hippie patchouli oil dirtbags in California, and some of them aren't quite such dirty hippies. Some of them are just out there art types. So there was a settlement in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I think they called it Holy City, and it became a place where a bunch of glass blowing artists set up shop. So in the abstract, maybe that's not so bad, but it wasn't really. It was really more about people going there and doing their craft rather than just living in squalor and waiting to die in a Chicago fire.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hate hippies, why can't we leave people the fuck alone? 4 decades, 40 years they've been there, and there's been no problem. So, like, what the fuck? Fuck off, government.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I disagree with you guys. Like, I just say leave them the fuck alone. Let them have their... They don't want to be in our society. Let them have their own little pocket there, and, you know, everybody can live free. I don't understand why everybody's got to get into everybody else's shit.
Well, you make a good point. If there weren't kids living there, then it might be different. If it's just a bunch of adults who want to die of carbon monoxide poisoning, I sort of don't care. But the kids are completely guiltless in this, breathing in God knows what and potentially going to die in a fire. I mean, it's all fun and games until about 20 or 30 people die in a fire, right? And it's the whole libertarian thing. So can you stop somebody from doing something stupid? You can say
Yes.
the libertarian thing is, oh, well, just let them do it and then they'll know they'll be punished.
It's
But
the
there,
most fundamental right of a human being.
but there are things that a human being can do for which there is no cure. Like a human being can put in a gas tank at a gas station that ruins the water supply for 100,000 people. There's no cure for that, right? It's just completely out of balance. So does the government have the right to stop them from keeping
course
all
they
these
do.
kids from dying in a fire or whatever?
Yeah, and there you get into a bunch of stuff, I'm sure, about clear and present dangers, and I'm sure there's tons and tons of law surrounding that. But you have to believe that that law has to address the questions of what causes this, what are the circumstances under which this happens to, decide a fair course of events in saying when can the government gun be used to suppress behavior that threatens a community. How do you define a community? What does threaten mean? What is a clear and present danger? What is an immediate threat? What may be reasonably foreseen? There's all kinds of stuff that would have to be legally defined and looked at to see when to do that. But obviously, there's a case to do that. Without that regulation, anarchy just turns into gangs of warlords. You're just gangs of chimps then. We turn into.
I agree with you to an extent, but like, I trust these people to not want to kill themselves more than I trust the government to give like accurate information. So I don't know, but with the information I have at hand from this story, what I know of like past government bureaucracy bullshit, like things get trumped up. Like there might be more. Whatever.
Have you ever been to Humboldt County?
No.
If these guys burn down their house, they're going to burn down what's the average size fire in that part of California, Harry?
Yeah.
100,000 acres, 200,000
Yeah,
acres.
it's not going to be confined to their property.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. There are huge potential liabilities that are being discussed here. If you burn down the forest up there, you can take care of $1 billion real quickly. One person.
But I do.
Yeah, the government has to stop those.
No,
people.
but I do agree with what Functional is saying, except for the fact that the kids are there. And I know I'm doing the won't somebody think of the children. I'm just legally saying, you have the right to screw up your life, your own life, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. Fine, right? Die of smoke inhalation, don't care. But the kids are another thing. There is sort of a burden of care on the kids. And if they're exposing the kids to things that are going to permanently mess them up, then there's, I think, some concern. I don't think requiring a carbon monoxide detector in those houses is such a big ask.
No.
I mean, that seems entirely reasonable.
Well, yeah. Also being inspected for fireworthiness, for habitability. We're at a point in society where every citizen has an interest in the relative safety of other people's dwellings. We're just too close together. That's just a necessary liberty sacrifice, unfortunately.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
actually,
I was under the impression this was in the middle of kind of nowhere.
well, it is in the middle of nowhere, but there are trees in the middle of nowhere there. It's it's essentially a huge old redwood forest, and all it's in is hippies and pot farming.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, in terms of, back when pot was like this thing that you had to, you had to buy on the sly.
I get it now.
Humboldt Green was some of the
Humboldt was,
best.
I mean, Humboldt Green was world famous,
Yes.
high quality, pot.
Oh, I bet the hippies know their shit.
Yeah, the hippies know their shit.
Damn straight.
Still don't like hippies though, but I don't think we should Waco them to save them from themselves.
Sure.
They're certainly not going to die in a fire if they shoot them all first. God, Waco. All right, let's move on.
Great Charlie Daniels line about long-haired hippie pinko fag.
Yep, bundle of sticks, very flammable. No, we can't talk about that without Sora. Can't talk about that without Serenity.
Gee, thanks, Harry.
Well, there's articles that appeal to people, and I don't like to cover them when they're not here.
I was looking at an
Which is
article.
not good enough, guy.
Okay, how about this one? Governor Newsom signs law to shed light on state storage of newborn DNA. So it turns out they were taking DNA samples from kids for like the last 20 years. And what they've done with said DNA information is a little sketchy. So they've introduced a bill that sheds some light on what they're doing with this, but probably not nearly enough. So it says California stored blood spots for every baby born in the state since the 1980s. Researchers and law enforcement can use these DNA samples without your knowledge or consent. What a great system. So it says if you're related to someone who was born in California since 1983, a portion of your DNA is likely in the massive newborn genetic biobank. In response to our decade-long investigation, lawmakers introduced several bills this year that were intended to shed light on how the state is amassing and using California's newborn DNA stockpile. So it doesn't really do that much. It says it does some small amount of disclosure, but it doesn't actually say, like, for instance, who they sell the data to. And yeah, it's anonymized, but who knows? Somebody's going to come up with some medicine based on, some genetic method based on your own DNA and then charge you to have access to it. I mean, the law surrounding it is a bit nuts.
Well, there's just not much guidance. This is what I think lawyers refer to as a fertile area of the law.
Yeah.
Anytime you have new developments that are changing the rules for how things interact with things, and people interact with people, and people interact with things, and things interact with people, all those things start to change, then there is an opportunity for a new law. And there will be a lot of law around this, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. What is this that I have? Okay, so we've done Canada. Can't do any of that. Let's see.
Harry does Canada.
We've done Canada. It's not like Carry On Canada. That'd be a good movie.
Take off, eh?
Okay, so you were saying that the Webb telescope hasn't been discovering as much new stuff.
No, that's not what I said. That's
Oh,
not
okay.
what I
You said it's been
I
quiet.
said there's new stuff. It's just like it's not. It doesn't. It hasn't. There hasn't been anything as grandiose as like seeing some of the stuff for the first time. But there's still good stuff coming out. I'm just like, there's no big stories like holy shit.
It's kind of fun that
Oh yeah, carbon
that
dioxide.
they're seeing things in the JWST that they can't explain. I'm just enjoying that thoroughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be boring if we knew everything already?
No, we so don't know
God,
everything.
that would suck.
We don't know anything. We're not even to Ptolemy's epicycles
So when
in terms of understanding physics.
when they sent was it New Horizon, that probe by Pluto,
Yep.
they did get some measurements, but it turns out that Webb, in terms of its infrared spectroscopy, works in bands of the infrared that previously we didn't have coverage in. So when you take the data from the space probes and you take the data from Webb and you take the data from Hubble and you put it all together, you get a much more comprehensive picture of stuff. So we now know there's traces of carbon dioxide on Pluto's largest moon. I mean, that
Further giving credence a little bit to the theory that there's water, well, ice inside of Pluto.
Well, it could be Coca-Cola, carbon
Could be.
dioxide.
Or Sprite,
says it
ginger ale.
detected carbon
Something
dioxide
carbonated.
and hydrogen peroxide on the surface of Charon, which is about half the size of Pluto.
Pluto.
Previous research, including flyby, New Horizon, yada, yada, yada. A lot of fingerprints of chemicals that we otherwise wouldn't get to see. This is some pretty cool science. Pluto, a dwarf planet, and its moons are on the far fringe of the solar system and zone known as the Kuiper Belt.
This is on the planet.
Because water, ice, ammonia, and organic materials were previously detected on Charon, both Pluto and Charon are over 3 billion miles from the sun and are likely too chilly to support life. But there's some interesting life-like chemistry going on there. These are the kinds of ingredients that we want to see for things to get interesting out in the Kuiper Belt. And Webb is detecting these things, which is super cool. But I like this story.
Yes.
The Kuiper Belt is a long way away.
It is. Black hole
And-
shot a beam through space. NASA snapped stunning footage. This is what you're looking at
I
here
missed that.
is a
gamma
3,000 light year long jet of plasma shooting from the galaxy M87's supermassive black hole.
Guarantee you it's full of gamma rays. Too. Guarantee you.
Well, this is where cosmic radiation comes from. It's this kind of stuff. This is the shit.
Black hole poop.
Yeah.
But
well,
if you happen to be at the other end of that radian and you get those gamma rays,
Or you're cooked.
yeah, if you're
As the
close
kids
enough,
say.
you're done.
well, there's one galaxy that does this. That's essentially like a shotgun that is essentially sterilizing another galaxy that's just sort of in the line of fire. I can't
read
remember
that.
which pair it is, but just the
I
idea.
can't either.
You think, oh, well, the secret, God loves us. The universe is this loving, wonderful. No, the universe sucks. The universe hates you. Whole galaxies just sterilized. No life will,
By another
no
galaxy.
life in
Yeah,
this
like-
galaxy ever, because of what's going on in its neighboring galaxy. That's how much the universe sucks. But the question of not just, hey, this is really cool, but how does this actually happen, is kind of interesting. Okay, go the fuck away.
You see when a mama black hole
Yeah.
and a daddy
Well,
black hole
if
love
a-
each other.
If a black hole essentially takes all matter and just sucks it in so it can't escape, why is there this jet of extremely energetic stuff flying out of it? And why is it a jet? The answer is we actually don't really know, because the amount of energy that's coming out of this thing is actually higher than you might expect. So a black hole, when the matter collapses, rotation can still be conserved. So you've got this thing that's actually rotating, and not just rotating a little bit, but rotating a lot with a very intense amount of gravity. So there's a phenomenon called frame dragging. So one of the theories from God, what is the guy's the crazy mathematician
you're
guy?
Talking about frame dragging.
The crazy mathematician guy who I really really like, Penrose.
Penrose.
So Roger
right.
Penrose actually
Roger Penrose,
suggested
yes.
that some of the stuff that gets close to the black hole near the poles, instead of getting sucked in, it gets accelerated away at 99.997% of the speed of light.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's got like this incredible energy, so much energy that we're talking about not X-rays but gamma rays. It's an insane amount of power.
It's unfathomable.
Yeah.
To create a
It really
plume,
is.
a plume of plasma 3,000 light years long. Holy crap!
Yeah.
These are like
At
energies
gamma
I
ray
can't even think
frequency.
about. Yeah,
At gamma ray frequency, Harry.
and it's going so fast that relativistic things are happening within the plume itself. It's
Right.
like it's like holy
You can
crap!
drift back and forth in time, seemingly.
This is so cool. But the fact that we don't actually know for sure why it does what it does. The Penrose theory, where's like we can sort of assume that stuff might come in at an angle where it gets accelerated and blown away in this beam. Essentially it's got a magnetic field, it's got rotation. Up near the pole, there's just like this little spot where something comes in, gets blown right out, right?
Yep.
But that extra energy might actually be coming from the frame dragging of this huge mass, essentially having this rotating magnetic field that just hits these things and knocks them out of the park like a slugger in a home run derby.
Right.
So essentially there's like a little home run derby of particles happening at the poles on this black hole.
You got to realize those particles are coming in at pretty high speed too.
Roger Penrose is a pretty cool guy.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
He's brilliant. I don't use the B word much. He's brilliant.
Well, there was something about was it a single electron sharing on carbon that was a theory of Linus Pauling that they only recently validated. And I'm not a chemist like you, so I mean I didn't pay super close attention. It's a very niche thing, but they hadn't observed this in carbon before.
What was this?
I'll send you the thing. It's very, very esoteric. But the fact that a theory of Linus Pauling was only recently demonstrated, they only recently found empirical evidence that it was true. It still kind of blows my mind that they're still validating these great men like Linus Pauling and Einstein that were
electron bonding theory. Is that the?
Yeah, but specific to carbon in this case because it hadn't been observed there before. He came up with a scenario where it might work.
Right.
And they found and they duplicated it. My dentist was and her husband were really good friends with Linus Pauling.
I read about this. I did read about this.
It's way too niche for this show.
Yeah. Oh my God. We're going to talk about covalent bonding between carbon atoms. No, we're not.
No,
we're not. We're going to talk about that.
We are not. +4, -4. That's all there is. I'm not even going to think about. Not even going to think about this.
The valence does not work.
No,
The
not even going
valence
to think
hurts my
about
head.
any of this shit. But anyway, black holes are super cool, and I'm totally comfortable with the fact that we don't know why these jets have as much power as they do.
Yeah, but they do, man. And we aim one at a planet.
This is actually a pretty good article. I'm going to send. I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody. This article from science.org. Sorry, I'm a little disorganized. Okay, black hole. Check.
We can call it anytime, Harry.
So the Artemis project. We're gonna send people to the moon before the Chinese, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, okay, let's just take a poll. How many of us think that with the current progress of the Artemis project that we are going to get somebody on the moon before the Chinese do? Show of hands. Show of hands. Geodes, do you think we're going to beat them? And I'm looking for an honest answer.
I would say that all depends on whether or not something gets screwed up on their end.
I think it all depends on just how crazy the Chinese decide to be about not caring about safety, because it's not like they care about it that much.
They will totally go that road.
Yeah, they will just trebuchet people onto the moon if they have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They absolutely will.
So-
And
And
if they have problems getting back, it just means they have a permanent colony there.
With the moon
well,
Nazis.
they'll just
The-
send Elon to
like-
go rescue them again.
So what do you think, Functional? Do you think we're going to beat them with our experience and money and stuff, or do you think they're going to
I
make it there
don't know
before
what the
us?
Artemis project is,
It's the mission to go back to the moon.
but from who?
It's the mission
NASA?
to
The,
spend
the
money.
yeah, NASA.
Oh, fuck no.
You didn't know that was happening?
No.
Oh, well, maybe we should talk about these things more often. So just
Artemis is under, unfortunately, the handicap that everything has to be perfect and everybody's ass has to be covered before anything can move forward.
yeah.
And that's not true at a place like SpaceX.
Well, there's an article in Ars Technica from the first, which I think is pretty good. It's the politically incorrect guide to saving NASA's floundering Artemis program. So the Artemis program involves, we can't just be another Apollo.
Right.
They don't want it to be Apollo 2.0. So they were going to build like this gateway thing. Like, here, why don't we build like a small space station that sort of hangs out by the moon, so they have a place to like get clean socks and refuel and do all that sort of stuff. Let's just build this extra piece of infrastructure, which we totally do not need to go to the moon.
Right.
And because that won't complicate the timelines at all, right? So they want to make it not be Apollo. If we just want to go to the moon, we absolutely could just do that. We could just do something like what we did with Apollo. And the reason we did it the way we did it is because it works.
Yeah.
And eventually Elon Musk will just fly there. He will just get in like a Starship and they will just fly there. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not actually that far away from being able to do something better. But if you just want to beat the Chinese to the moon, and I think the estimate is that it's going to be like around 2030 that we think they're going to land some people there, we need to just forego all of this BS and window dressing and just get down to brass tacks and then do it. But then the question
Some of
becomes...
the estimates that I've heard is that the Chinese plan to be on the moon by the end of 2028.
Yep, that's what I've heard too.
That's what I've heard.
Or die trying.
Yeah, die in the attempt.
It's really easy to get to the moon. To get there alive and be able to come back is a different story.
Exactly.
Like Shelley Berman talking... Back when people would make jokes about airline travel, Shelley Berman... I think it's in, is it inside Shelley Berman or outside Shelley Berman? But he talks about airline travel. He says, the pilot comes on the intercom and he says, well, we've picked up a tailwind and we're going to arrive 20 minutes early. And he says, well, we can land 20, we're going to land 20 minutes early. We can land 20 minutes early, like into the side of a mountain. I just want to get there, but there, I want to just have it all work. And if you're not going to do something different than Apollo, and the only reason is to basically beat the Chinese, what is it that we're actually proving? What is the point of it?
There's no reason for the Artemis program that I know of. That thing, it doesn't lead to anything.
And
what does it lead to?
We sent black people to the moon.
Oh, that is actually what this is about. And the other thing is
they want to send a woman to the moon is what they really want to do.
Astronauts, because communications have improved so much, and outer space communications have improved so much that the astronauts don't have to be pilots anymore. They can basically be occupants in an elevator. That's what the people in the Dragon capsule, they don't do shit. They watch stuff on TV. They watch TV all the way up. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly it's time to get out, and then they get to go to the bathroom. I mean, that's
test monkeys.
That anyone could do that. That's so it's the cachet of being an astronaut has gone from being a person who is this pilot master of all things to someone more with the personality of a very precise accountant who follows instructions, stays on task, and is competent at a lot of little skills.
Yeah.
That many of them they learn, and many of them they don't. Astronauts are. Harry and I have both met one or two.
Yeah, I've even shaken hands with a black astronaut before. I can tell you, we did send black people to the moon.
Not to the moon.
Not to the moon, but
Into space.
Into space.
Into space.
low
So,
orbit.
so what's the point of Artemis Station? Is it just sort of like as a drop-off point so that we can build a colony
It's our
on the
last.
moon,
It's our
or-
last best hope for peace, and it's
Well,
Babylon.
that's
It's
Babylon
Babylon
4.
1 is what it is basically. No, I'm just kidding.
Babylon.
Babylon 2.5.
No, we had this whole plan, and ultimately the idea of having this space station out there is that it gives us a launching off point to Mars and other places. They just want to basically have,
But again, why wouldn't you put that on the moon?
because if you're going to Mars, landing on the moon to fuel up is dumb.
Why would you
but I
land
mean-
another gravity well?
Yeah, unless of course they harvest. I mean, even then you would, even if we have a fusion drive, they're going to harvest all the helium-3 from the moon, and then they're going to take it to the transport station,
But
and
that's
then
what
you're
I'm
going to
saying,
fuel
setting
up
up
there.
infrastructure on the moon is.
Oh, we're going to do
part
that
of the
too.
process.
We're going to spend a ton of money.
That's what I was wondering if Artemis Station was to that purpose. So
No, the
you
moon
would have
colony is
different craft,
another project.
But follow me. You would have different craft that would come from Earth to the space station and versus the space station down to the moon surface. Like that's where my head was at.
God, I hope they name it Moonbase Alpha.
Right.
Just that's just going to make me irrationally happy if they just name it Moonbase
Moonbase
Alpha.
Yeah. That or Luna City. I would be happy with Luna City.
Luna City would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, after the moon is harsh, misters.
Because the moon is a giant hollow spaceship. I really did enjoy that terrible low budget movie Iron Sky. I didn't see the second one, but the first one with the moon Nazis was pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty fun.
I did not see that, so
Yeah. They played a lot of Wagner for background music.
nice.
The doomsday weapon
Ominous.
from the moon Nazis was the Götterdämmerung. Because
The
it's just it's a bit on the nose, right?
Nice.
All right.
Perfect.
Artemis. Yeah, the way to beat the Chinese to the moon is to stop faffing about and just go to the moon the
Go
way we
to
did
the
last
moon.
time. Just go.
Yeah.
Just go if you want to beat the Chinese. Otherwise, just decide you don't care.
Start doing the calculations, find the best window, and go.
Yeah. Except the fact that, the moon's going to have a new boyfriend and he's not going to be as cool as you and he's not going to make as much money as you, but he's going to be there and that's going to be the way it is. And just acceptance.
I guess the Chinese are looking to set up infrastructure as well. Is that
No,
their
it's just a
going-
stupid flex.
Or they're just
They're just-
oh okay, so
it's-
they're just flexing.
It's just a flex.
Everybody's whipping their cocks out and going ha.
Yeah. Just flop it out and go, there it is. Okay. All right. I'm going to put this link in the chat too, because I actually think this is a pretty good article. Okay. Where are we? All right. So are we done with space? We're done with space. Found a food channel, which I kind of like. He's a chef and he's Canadian. I think he's pretty interesting. So Functional, I'm going to play this and then I'm going to get your take on it. You tell me if he's full of crap and if you think he's entertaining. I find some of his cooking videos to be good.
The problem
I
is
already
that
tell
is the
you, he's no
bandwagon
Nigella
effect,
Lost.
right? I mean, people tend to eat 3 kinds of meat, 4
What's
kinds of
Massimo?
fish. That's
Yeah.
it. The sea bass, they want the salmon, they want the
Massimo's
pickerel,
awesome.
scallops, they want shrimp. There is an enormous variety of fish that we could be serving and showcasing.
Met
but
him a
we
half a
can't.
dozen
People
times.
will eat beef, chicken,
Nice.
lamb, some pork. That's
That's
it.
cool.
Anything chicken will sell. Anything chicken. You can put chicken on a salad, on eggs, on pasta. You can put it on pizza. You can put it. Everybody wants chicken on anything. Get a life. Problem is that we are all bombarded with mixed messages from all of the nutritionists and all of these assholes that are telling people what to eat and how to eat and on quantity and diets and this and that. Fuck off. Just eat and enjoy yourself. Eat
Yeah,
a
fuck
variety
off,
of
just
food. That's what you're supposed to do. We are only limited by our own imagination. And the problem is
Yeah.
that is the bandwagon effect, right?
All right. So generally, I don't think there's any disagreement coming from you. And you like this guy. You said you've met him, right?
Oh yeah. Half a dozen times.
Well, I don't know. Is his restaurant in Toronto or?
Yep. Oh, I think he's got several. But he's a big personality up here, so
Yeah, he
Met him
seems
at a
like
couple
an
events
interesting
and-
guy.
there was the wine tasting. This is an industry wine tasting thing. He came up and he started telling me how shitty the wine was. I was like, oh, okay.
Nice.
I don't know dick about wine, so
Wine's not that complicated, honestly. I mean,
It's just you can tell me it's this. I'm not going to retain that information. You put the glass of wine in my hand, I will try it. I will tell you whether I like it or I don't like it, and what I do or don't like about it. But I couldn't talk to you about wine.
I got a job as when I was in the hospitality industry. I was doing wine buying for a restaurant when I was 19. That was fun, and but I looked older than my age, so it never even occurred to anybody that I wasn't 21 plus. And they don't ask a lot of questions when you buy 10 cases at a time. It's just fine. But I got the crash course from a guy who was a real pro in the industry and picked up a lot of it pretty quickly. But it's an easy thing to get into in California because so many people are in the wine business. I mean, literally, my neighbor, there's 2 neighbors on my street that run wineries. And the guy across the street from me, I give him freshly baked bread. He gives me wine from his winery. And he's like a real guy. He just gives me stuff like before they even release it. He's a real nice guy. So it's easy to get into wine when you're sort of surrounded by it. But anyway, the point is, I like this guy's philosophy. And this is the same thing I've told people. I said, we don't know what's good for you. We don't know what's going to kill you. Just eat lots of different stuff and don't eat too much of any one thing. And just kind of play the field. Just spread your odds around. Just eat a lot of different stuff. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We do, and we know the foods that don't agree with us. So you avoid that shit, and you try other things, or eat what makes you feel good. Like me and the wife were talking today. Like I was telling her, like I crave meat and meat products 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Like, yeah. All the time, even when I'm full. You want to throw like some beef jerky or another steak in front of me, I will try to eat until I vomit. I love meat. If I eat anything else, I do not feel good. I like bread, I like vegetables, but I have to eat those in moderation because they just do not agree with me. And of course, I've told you before about my dairy thing, but meat, not a problem.
Yeah. So geodes, there's probably about a 50% chance that you don't eat fish. And I say this based on the fact that people your age, I run into a lot of them and they go, fish? I don't eat fish. They not only don't eat fish, that maybe like fillet of fish, but they literally just don't even know about fish. They don't eat it. They don't know about it. It's just like a thing. You might as well be talking about, I don't know, xenobiology. They just don't know. So
Yeah.
Well,
what about you? Do you actually like eat salmon and sea bass and orange roughy and tilapia? I mean, do you eat fish? Do you know about fish?
Well, I've tried to.
Yeah.
I have a bit of an allergy to fish, so that's my problem.
Like all fish or shellfish or
tilapia makes me really sick.
tilapia is a
I know
garbage
that.
fish anyway.
Salmon, I have some issues, but not as bad as tilapia. So
Half the tilapia you order isn't even tilapia.
there you go.
Yeah,
Whitefish.
people in the restaurant business know that.
It's like, I can't believe it's not tilapia.
Yeah,
There
no
you go.
kidding.
So, Geodes, did you ever watch Doomsday Preppers when it was on Nat Geo?
Doomsday Preppers?
Yeah, did you watch that? Doomsday Preppers. It was a TV show. It was a series where they basically followed a bunch of preppers around and looked at their preps. You never saw this?
No, I don't think I ever
This
saw
seems
that.
like a perfect show for you. But they had this
Okay.
one guy who was in like your part of the world. Like I think he was in Phoenix, which I know is a different state, but similar enough. And so he took his swimming pool, drained most of it, covered it with a tarp, and he had like just this little in the deep end of the pool, just this little puddle where he was growing tilapia and also pulling the water out in like an aquaculture thing, and then growing duckweed, which he would then like feed to the tilapia, and he had like this aquaponics cycle going, which was just nitrates from the fish that fertilize the duckweed, that feed the fish, that go on, and that was his disaster plan. He was going to grow tilapia in his backyard in the desert. That just to give you an idea of what a useless garbage fish tilapia is. You can grow it in a dilapidated pool with a tarp over the top.
There you go.
I'm sorry, that's not where the good fish comes from.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
That's fair.
but I think people are
tilapia.
people are happy to explore to try different kinds of meat, functional. Aside from, like if you're confronted with like some elk or some bison or some ostrich or something, most people will go, yeah, I'll try that. But I don't think most people are really, unless they're lucky enough to be born into an Italian family, they just don't know about fish. They don't know a fishmonger. They don't know about fish. They don't know how to cook it. They don't know how to do any of it. It's basically Italians are the only people in the U.S. that seem to know a damn thing about how to cook fish.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Well, yeah, there's a
The
friend.
Mexicans who live on the coast do.
And I was about to say,
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about
fishermen.
Mexico.
because of the
They're all
size of the
fishermen.
continent
Yeah.
and where like people have congregated, you've got a whole lot of landlocked places that up until recent in human history, like the history of the countries, wasn't even readily available. It was also more of a niche thing to have to import these things. It was too expensive for the layman to try. But you can go to restaurants these days and get stuff that could have been really expensive back then that nobody and people can actually experience a lot of this stuff. And fish farms are huge. I should know. I worked on one. They will import fish, and funny enough, was ran by a German Italian guy. Fuck. I don't remember what kind of fish. Sorry.
Nope.
Or fish is, because there were multiple kinds. But
You're gonna love old age.
no, I'm just a stoner. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, feel you.
God, I'm trying to remember the name of the. There is a book which is a really good book. Like if somebody wants to learn about fish and how to cook fish, maybe this isn't the best beginner book, but I have faith in the people in chat that they're not a bunch of asshats. Oh, we are
I
hemorrhaging
think
viewers.
JB's a little focused on this monkey meat thing.
Man.
All right, let's take the focus out. Have you got a palate cleanser for us?
Oh yeah.
In closing, Massimo is awesome.
Massimo
Yes,
is
he
awesome.
is. Good shot.
There you go.
Okay.
He seems like a great guy, actually.
These are the people I grew up with, Skep.
Really.
A bunch of no nonsense Italians, and
I know
basically
people like this.
learned everything from
These are-
just watching these guys in their gardens
Yeah.
Okay.
every summer.
So let's
This
talk
is
about
like
Star
every
Trek.
matron in my family back in Italy. Anyway.
So let's talk about Star Trek, shall we?
Oh, you're one of them Italians, is you?
Okay.
I certainly am. Come from Gubbio, Italy.
So original series Star Trek. You guys have probably all seen this. Geodes, did you ever watch original series?
Yes.
Okay. So you remember? Oh crap! Stop!
Oh my God, Harry, you ruined it.
I have. No, that's the wrong thing. Okay.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
I have that because I was making fun of her name. That's something I texted to somebody. Okay. This is going poorly.
Wouldn't it? Chantel Marina Gomez. That could sell a lot of books.
Oh, this is all going to shit.
Can't take you anywhere, Harry.
Yeah, no, you really can't. Okay. So here's the trailer for an episode. The Devil in the Dark.
Has brought the Enterprise to Janus 6.
When that creature appears, men die.
Oh yeah, Horda, the Horda.
Yeah.
Cat. I only got a glimpse of it. Ed shot it. A good, clean shot. Didn't even slow it down. Captain, we're being...
So you guys remember this episode? Awesome episode of Star Trek. It turns out it's actually one of William Shatner's favorite episodes. It turns out it's also one of Leonard Nimoy's favorite episodes, but Shatner actually lists basically this and the episode with Joan Collins as being which I can't remember the name of, as being like his favorites. But there's City on the Edge of Tomorrow. There is a There's one thing about this episode, though, that has drawn a lot of heat, that's upset people retroactively. What is kind of weirdly unique about this episode? If you think back on it and what ends up happening, the landing party shows up, there's a bunch of miners on this planet. What is different about this episode than every other TOS episode? There's a component that you normally see in Star Trek episodes that's missing from this one. What is not in this episode?
Red shirts?
No, there's red shirts. There's red shirts. Do you know, Skep?
No, I don't. I just can't remember enough about that episode. I remember the episode. I just don't. It's not one of the more memorable ones to me.
What about you, Functional? Can you remember what's missing from this episode? No, there are no lines of dialogue spoken by any woman anywhere in the episode. They made the entire show, but there's like no women in it at all. Even at the time after they made it, they kind of went, huh, wait a second. We seem to have forgotten. We seem to have forgotten about women in this episode. There are none, and it kind of pissed people off even back then. They were like, "Wait a second, we can't make an episode that's completely devoid of females."
You know why it was devoid of females?
Yeah, because they aren't usually miners on distant planets fighting rock monsters.
Because Harlan Ellison wrote the script, and it was right after his first divorce.
Ah, so he was feeling salty about the fairer sex.
He hated women. He talks about that.
Oh, really? Because I didn't find that in anything I found looking at this episode.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was he was not going to be writing any woman parts in anything for a little while.
Well, he obviously slipped it
from the divorce.
He slipped it by the producers and stuff because nobody noticed until after the fact that they just sort of forgot about women completely in this episode. It was just a bunch of dudes on a planet mining for stuff, and the only female in this is the rock monster, and she doesn't really talk.
That's funny. That is so funny.
Pretty wild.
God, that just...
So there's a thing happening.
He's a creative guy, but a nightmare mind.
Yeah, there's another YouTube thing that I saw, which has got to be the fakest thing I've ever seen, and I can't figure out if the guy's thinks that everybody knows, or if if he doesn't think we know it's a fake. It is the most fake thing I think I've seen in a long time. So it's like he's supposedly metal detecting. Oh, look, I found a rock that just happens to be here, and I'm going to pull it out, and it's a sphere, and it says for 40 million years this ball lay in the ocean. And then he cuts it open with his hatchet, as one does, because this is totally organic.
And your signed card is inside.
Yeah. And he pulls it open. Wow, look. Right where I left it.
Okay. How about no? First of all, there's so much wrong here. There's so much wrong.
There's so much wrong. Why are you faking there for? It's like, what is this?
The thing is, like, my folks are watching shorts a lot, and honestly, this lines right up with shorts that would fall into their feed. I think it's just
what crap.
It's brainless, like shorts that like you watch one right after another. That's what this is supposed to go towards.
My cousin has a round, concrete mold. Why don't you put something in that? We'll cast it and we'll let it harden overnight. Then you can crack it open on TV.
Yeah, this is just the worst thing. Comments are turned off. Well, it wasn't turned off when I made a comment. My comment was, and now for my next trick, I'm going to use this gold rock to decipher some gold tablets.
No, Nice.
I wonder if I'm the reason why they had to turn the comments off. Dum 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 dum.
That's one of my favorite South Park moments.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So fake. Okay, so there's a weird thing that's been happening in Southern California for a few years now. Something has been happening by the side of the road, and a couple of documentary filmmakers have been looking into it, and it is the dumbest, most ridiculous, stupidest thing I've seen in quite a while.
Strange one here. A mystery man is making his mark on the streets of Pasadena, and it's not exactly something that you'd want to see or smell, for that matter.
Okay, here we go. Two local filmmakers are getting plenty of attention these days, tracking down the so-called pea bandit. And Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in Pasadena with...
First of all, he's not stealing any peas, so this is the dumbest name ever, but here.
Why they believe these strange deposits are a form of art. Rob?
You know, street art has been all the rage in recent years, right? Banksy has left his mark on sidewalks and walls, and now Pasadena apparently has struck gold. Apparently they are flush with what some, but definitely not all, are calling art.
It's a stretch of Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena that really doesn't stand out, but it certainly puts the P in Pasadena.
P's the right word to say, right?
Yeah, so basically there's that structure there by the road, and somebody just keeps putting bottles of urine on top of this structure. Now, people do all sorts of weird things for whatever reasons motivate them. Okay. They've got video of this guy reaching over the wall and putting the jugs in place. And they've even tried changing the top of this thing so it's harder to put pee bottles on top of it. But what surprises me is that two filmmakers decided, hey, this seems like a good project. Why don't we get to the bottom of this? And they have literally spent 2 years investigating these bottles full of pee that show up on the side of this road. And they
spent 2 years of their life doing that.
Yeah,
Really.
and then they became kind of offended at the fact that people now think of them in terms of the pee bottles.
Maybe it's art.
It's a stretch, but maybe stream of consciousness art? Regardless, the two turned to TikTok, posting their investigative efforts and watching the views top 6 million. The world seemingly joining them in their drive to find the man with the golden bladder.
We're trying to get into the TikTok Hall of Fame.
Why? Why though?
You're in.
Kind of backfired on us because now we're the P guys. It's not really all it's cracked up to be, going everywhere and see there people honk at you. They say, you're the P.
You poor baby, you. You do something stupid for 2 years and then people give you a nickname.
What did you think
was going to happen? Of course, the first thing that popped into my mind was the Trailer Park Boys.
Right.
Your rig cab doesn't move an inch. Way of the road, Bubs. Well, Ray used to be on the road as a trucker, and that's what truckers do. They're driving along, and they've got deadlines to meet. They don't want to pull in and park their truck, walk in, take a pee in the toilet, and go back out and get in the road. They just have an old jug, and they put their bird in it, have a pee, cap it off, and once it's full, they just drill the fucking thing out in the highway. I mean,
So it's like art of a sword, I suppose. Everything is so stupid this week. I'm just like, why is everything so stupid?
It just tickles me.
I mean,
that's funny.
Why are they trying to think that the pee bottle thing is art? I mean, how do you, what kind of mental gymnastics leads you to this conclusion? We don't understand what they're doing, therefore it must be art.
What is wrong with people?
No, it's just some idiot is just doing it. Maybe you don't need a reason. Maybe they're mentally ill.
Okay.
Why does anybody do anything stupid like this?
I guess, yeah.
But the people in the press were so pleased with themselves with all their little jokes.
Oh, I know.
Stream of consciousness, it's like I hate everything. All right. Make that go away. Let's see. How are we doing for time?
I don't appreciate people going out of their way to make me think about pee. That's what irritates me about these guys.
Well, the person needs to drink more water for one thing, because that's not a good color. What were you going to say, Geodes?
Way too cut.
Let's say what is the name of their little documentary?
I don't know.
Picasso?
Picasso. That would be good.
Yeah. Like.
So the jokes write themselves.
Skep, top Oakland restaurant burglarized twice within hours, owner says.
Now serving number 4.
Yeah, so it's so bad that you literally, within the course of a couple hours, can be robbed twice. That's how bad the crime is in Oakland.
I totally believe that.
Because
it's just not a place you can operate.
Now, you know how... you guys probably remember I've said, what is the worst barbecue chain there is, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember which one I said?
Dickies.
Dickies. It is. It's Dickies. It's the worst. It's like the airline food version of barbecue. It's
that's
really
very, very apt.
Not the airport version of barbecue, the airline version of barbecue.
Yeah, on board.
You're flying in economy, and then they bring you like this.
They grudgingly bring you the pseudo barbecue.
It drips from all the steam. It's disgusting. It's the worst thing. So I was not particularly surprised to see that America's largest barbecue chain has shuttered nearly 100 restaurants.
Here's why.
Yeah. The most recent franchise disclosure documents for Dickey's Barbecue Pit revealed that the chain's operators shuttered 97 locations during the 2024 fiscal year, ending May 31st. Couldn't happen to a nicer group of people.
Yeah. They just tried to RBI's, barbecue, and you can't make barbecue into Arby's.
I'd rather have an barbecue than Dickey's barbecue.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I can at least put the horseradish sauce or the horsey sauce on the barbecue, and then it's fine.
Sauce is the only reason to go to Arby's.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Pump
but
that shit into my veins.
But if you go to Arby's, at least it's not dripping from the steam table.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. You'd have a better meal experience at Arby's than you would at Dickey's. I kid you not.
There's one good thing about Dickey's. One and only one good thing is it is one of those places where they have like a big thing of pickles, and you can just grab as many as you want.
That's funny. I was just going to say pickles.
Pickles, that was it.
Pickles. Just as soon as you said that, I was going to say pickles, and I said, "No, I'm going to shut up. Just let Harry talk."
No, pickles.
And that's what it is. That's exactly what came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've eaten it more than one. I've eaten it 3 or 4, and I've had the misfortune. I always regret it. Go 5 years and do it again.
I've also noticed that in San Francisco, a bunch of high-end restaurants are just closing all of a sudden.
Really?
Yeah, it's really not good because, the city's basically just sort of dying in the city center. You're just not seeing people go downtown because they don't, between all of the work from home stuff and the fact that people just don't want to be in downtown San Francisco with all the crime and homeless and drugs and... it's like when I wake up in the morning, I think to myself, you know what I don't want to see? Somebody dying from a fentanyl overdose. I don't want to watch somebody senselessly throw their life away where I am.
And it's on every corner. It's all through there.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if the Tatich Grill is still in business. They are. And they are now the oldest continuously run restaurant in California. They're the 3rd oldest in the United States.
Well, there was another one that came in after I'd already made the spreadsheet. Let me see. So not just this one. They basically had a Spanish place and a French place, and they were more or less shut down during the pandemic. And they came back and they said, okay, we're going to merge the two, have one restaurant that serves both styles of food, and do everything we can to stay in business. And finally, they just said, "Uncle, we just can't.
Yeah,
we're just closing.
Nobody can figure out what we are. Nobody's coming."
Yeah, and so there's another place. God, where? Oh, okay. So there's this one: Michelin-starred restaurant trashes SF Soma in post-closing announce enclosure. Yeah, they basically Michelin star restaurants closing.
Mm-hmm.
Just
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
That's a lot of goodwill to throw away. You think about the goodwill in a brand.
Yeah, said even in the right part of town, these would be huge accomplishments in the time frame for any operation. The fact that we did all this in the ugly butt end of a desolate convention center suckhole in the post-penny apocalypse is nothing short of a miracle. And I believe in miracles. I have to be a chef and restaurant owner in these times. But I also know that miracles do not last forever. So they're closing on the 21st because they just can't. You can't even make it as a Michelin-starred restaurant in downtown San Francisco, south of Market. That's how bad the suck is.
That's hard to imagine. San Francisco was so vibrant. I mean, it was just absolutely effervescent in the late 70s.
So, do any of you know sort of the rough description of what being a 1, 2, and 3 Michelin star restaurant actually means? The way it's been broken down that I've seen is a 1-star Michelin restaurant is, if you're in the neighborhood, you should definitely go. A 2-star Michelin restaurant is, it's worth making a detour to be there. And a 3-star Michelin restaurant is, it is worth it being the destination of your trip. It's so good that you should just go there. That is like it's reason enough for your whole trip to go to a 3-star Michelin restaurant. It's like a big deal to get that level of recognition.
The actual Michelin guide says 1 star. The restaurant is considered, quote, very good in its category. It uses high quality ingredients, prepares dishes with distinct flavors to a consistently high standard. Okay, that's 1 star. 2 stars. The restaurant has excellent cuisine that is worth a detour, as you said.
Yeah.
Chef's personality and talent are evident in their refined and inspired dishes. That's 2 stars. 3 stars is the restaurant has exceptional cuisine that is worth a special journey. The chef's cooking is elevated to an art form, and some of the dishes are destined to become classics.
There you go.
3-star restaurants are pretty unusual, as I understand it.
Yeah, very rare. Unless you've got a rat cooking in the kitchen. How many stars did the restaurant in Ratatouille have, Functional?
How the hell should I know?
Did you ever watch Ratatouille?
No.
No? Geodes? Ratatouille?
I believe it was. I believe it ended on possibly 3.
I thought it was. I thought it was 3.
It might have been 2.
Yeah.
I know that it got shut down and they had to do the little family restaurant. Spoilers, but you know, it's been out for a while, so whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the fact that Leonard Nimoy was the voice of the reviewer, of the restaurant critic. That was beautiful. He was so good. I mean, Skep's got 9 grandchildren. He has to have seen Ratatouille 100 times.
Oh, I've sat through it. I mostly fell asleep.
Yeah, Grampy's privilege.
Yeah, you have no idea. I mean, there are a lot of cartoons that I'll start out watching on, with a grandchild on the couch, and I fall asleep.
And then Grandpa becomes more couch than man.
Exactly. I merge with the couch.
I'll give you one final thing. Parents spot kids in 7-Eleven robbery footage, turn them into Los Angeles police. So, these hoodlums have been like basically flash mobbing these 7-Elevens down south, and they just show up on their bikes and then screw everything up and then leave. They did a bunch of them in the course of just a single night, Friday night. Well, in the video that was there, some of the parents said, "Those are my kids," and they turned them into the police, as they should have. It's like, well, you may not have done a good enough job raising your kids that they didn't do this, but at least you're going to teach them some responsibility by sending the popo after them, the 5-0.
Yep.
Good. And I hope that the moms take off their shoe and smack some sense into them while they wait for the police to show up.
That's
no, you don't. You won't wait until after they get dropped back off.
Oh yeah.
The thing of it is, that's what's missing. That's why those kids did that.
Yeah.
It's because that discipline's been missing. That's not going to change. The mother's going to say, "Oh, I've been making a mistake all this time." No, she's going to go exactly back to her comfort zone, living her life the way she always lives it, and hope that things get better, which is just what people do.
I think some of those, like, you know, in like black single moms in Chicago are doing absolutely the best they can, and they're trying really hard. Just not enough of them.
Yeah.
Just not enough of them.
Exactly right. It's a really complicated problem. A lot of different layers, a lot of good people doing good things, and people just being terrible, and sometimes situations just being terrible to people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's say goodnight to everybody, because we've gone our 2 hours and I am tired. Is there anything anybody else wants to say before we go?
You could say happy birthday.
Yeah, we can say happy birthday to
sure.
Skep, but we're not singing because we don't do that shit
No.
here.
No.
Okay.
Go over to Monkey's channel for that.
There you go.
All right.
Another
All right.
successful year.
So say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Laughing at death.
Bye.